What's up, friends? Welcome back to another episode of NFT 365. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, maybe you're a public speaker like myself, maybe you're an author, maybe you're a coach, this episode's for you because one of the things that excites me about the NFT Web3 space is not only working with great people, but really identifying, narrowing down, and also really honing in on use cases and examples that we can tangibly use for the power of NFTs and why a lot of this change and why I'm so excited about what is possible, can happen, should happen. And so if you're any of those, right? Entrepreneur, coach, speaker, author, we all know, and this is something that is pretty much a guarantee, that the number one way that you can sell, the number one way that you market is not your website. It's not search engine optimization. It's not creating content. It's not social media. It's not having a great speaker reel. It's not having a New York Times best-selling book. The best vehicle for generating sales and growing your business is, let's face it, you guys ready for it? It is word of mouth marketing, right? The idea that people will vouch for you. People trust people that are talking about them, right? And we think about that, right? In your coaching business, why would someone sign up for you to coach by you? They want to know who else has been coached by you and what is your track record? What are those that have worked with you in the past? Let's face it, if you are a speaker, right? As a public speaker, anyone can really create a great speaker demo, but how is it to work with you? What are those that have been in the audience's impressions? And it's why most of us have an email newsletter, right? Plug for our email newsletter here with the podcast. We're super excited, loving all the feedback we've been getting on the podcast newsletter. I try to cover everything that kind of comes into our live, right? So from a little bit of AI, a little bit of NFTs, a little bit of Web3, and a little bit about where in the world I'm at, what events I'm speaking at. So definitely check out that newsletter. But with that being said, why do we create a newsletter? Why are we even creating content consistently, like a podcast or blog? Well, it's to build trust, right? And it's also to nurture our existing fans and our existing followers. And then, of course, it's hopefully to attract new people to come and visit us and see what we are up to. But let's face it, the Web 2 model of strictly audience building or just getting, you're just giving your clients, letting your clients follow you on social media doesn't work. Why does that not work? Well, there's many reasons, but one of them is that most of the algorithms and things, we don't see even the content that we want to see on social networks. And for the most part, the reason that we love email is that there is no algorithm, right? We know that the email at least is going to get to their inbox. Are they going to read it? Yes, you need to have a great subject line. Yes, people need to know what to expect with your email. But beyond that, how are we celebrating these people that we believe are our number one resource, the number one focus we should have in our business, right? How are we celebrating? How are we empowering those to have word of mouth marketing for what we do? Entrepreneur, coach, author, speaker. How are we currently empowering them, right? We let them come into a Facebook group. But what are the people that have left let's say you've been coaching for a couple of years. Those that you were coaching in year 2, that you just knocked it out of the park with them, and you were a home run. They were such a perfect fit. What is your relationship with them today? I'm going to tell you what it is because I pretty much can guess. My guess is that there's a testimonial on your website, and every once in a while they'll nudge you or like your Facebook post or reach out to you and see what's going on, right? But that's a broken model, because if we know that people trust people and that we're all in the business of trust, and the number one vehicle for us delivering trust is that our past clients and those that we've worked with, vouching for us and celebrating us, why don't they have ownership in our success? Why don't they have a way to celebrate the things that they're a part of and the people that they support in the digital world? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because the idea of ownership, tangible ownership in the digital space has been broken for a long time. Think about it, right? Do you if you own a house and someone takes a picture of your house, they can't sell your house, right? But if someone goes to your website and they right-click save an image that you created for your website, they sure as hell could sell that image or put it on their own location, right? Because proof of ownership or validation of ownership really doesn't exist digitally. The other problem with Web 2 world of us connecting with our customers and our biggest fans and those that are our current clients is that gamification has really been vanity and mostly one way. Like, let's face it, even in Facebook groups, right? Someone can be celebrated as the most popular commenter or thought leader inside of a Facebook group. But what does that give them? How can they celebrate that success or vouch for that outside of that Facebook group? Because let's face it, we want people to be able to market, celebrate, and even just be able to own a piece of what they've experienced. I believe the number I heard recently was that 80%, around 80%, of those that put Harvard in their LinkedIn profile as the school that they attended did not go to Harvard. Let me say that again. 80% of the people that have Harvard listed as their school that they attended not go to Harvard. And so let's face it, the days of selling unicorns, rainbows, and BS, the ideas of faking it till you make it, putting things online, testimonials, customer, what brands you've worked with, even as speakers, which stages you've shared with, right? Like people always have on their website, share the stage with Michelle Obama, share the stage with Brene Brown. Yeah, they just spoke at the same event. They didn't share the stage. And also sharing the stage is such a weird notion to begin with. But here's the truth of the matter. That the reason all of that exists is because there was no way to validate and authenticate what we actually did digitally and how that experience actually went. But imagine if I could do this for every agency that you've worked with, for every coaching client that you've had, for every customer you've ever had. What if there was a way to give them something that proved that on this day they accomplished this, or on this day they took care of this task, or on this day they achieved this? Or maybe when you have a 6-month contract with somebody and after the 6 months, you guys agree that, hey, we're going to move on, but we had a really successful relationship. What if you were able to mint that testimonial to where the point where you knew that it could be authenticated? So when you went to someone's website and you saw testimonials, you didn't have to wonder how much they paid for them, or you didn't have to wonder if those are real. What if you were able to click on that testimonial and not only see when it was created and who it was created by, but what if you were able to click on a wallet and see that certain people were certain customers of certain agencies? The idea of validating a proof of ownership, proof of experience, proof of client, proof of testimonial is ultimately the thing about NFTs that excites me far more than Bored Ape photos, far more than all of the other flipping and buying and all this degen stuff that we currently play with in the NFT space. Because for me, digital identity and being able to prove you are who you say you are and the things you've accomplished or the things you are doing or the people you've worked with, to me is massive. But I am also a huge fan and believer in the power of gamification, right? Like I still check in to Foursquare and places that I go eat because I like having that like log of all the places I've eaten. But what was part of the problem with Yelp, that Yelp kind of got out of control with reviews, right? Was people realized that Yelp was driving a lot of business. So not only did people start to incentivize people to make Yelp reviews on their website, but what else did they do? They started incentivizing people to write bad reviews of their competitors. Problem being is, most of those bad reviews, people didn't even eat their food. People weren't even in the restaurant. But what if we were able to say, okay, this NFT can only be created inside of the restaurant during a certain period of time, but when it is created, it is immutable. It cannot be deleted. And when someone writes that review, you can actually prove that on this date, this person was in that location. This is where we're going, my friends. Now, some of the tech, some of the mechanics, especially the IRL, digital twin is what we're referring to it, still has a lot of work to do, right? We still have some work to do as far as making some of that functionality exist. There are tools, but a lot of those tools have a little bit of barrier to entry. So what I'm going to tell you is that there are some things that you can be doing today to prepare for this. One of them can be start circulating the conversation around you want to help your current customers, your current biggest fans celebrate who you are, what you're all about, right? And let's face it, like it might sound funny, but like I'm part of the National Speakers Association, right? I've been a member of the National Speakers Association for many, many years. You probably follow me on social media. You listen to this podcast. Many of you listen to it every single day. But guess what? There isn't really a digital way for me to prove that A, I'm a member, and B, for me to celebrate that I am a member of the National Speakers Association. But where we are moving towards is that when someone would click on my wallet, they would not only see the associations that I'm a part of, but they would also see other memberships that I'm a part of. They would also see other things that I've accomplished. It's the idea that like when someone is given Employee of the Month at a company, it's usually just like a static piece of paper. And we all know how that works. Most people just kind of can go online, can figure out what the template is of their last employer's Employee of the Month, put their name in it, print it out, and add that to their portfolio and act as if they were the Employee of the Month. Or maybe someone is your biggest supporter of your coaching program. Maybe they're the biggest supporter of your Facebook group or your LinkedIn community or your Discord group. Well, the idea of celebrating them, it does two things. First of all, it builds that trust and that loyalty, and it also allows us to validate and support our friends, because if we are greater than me, and if we believe in the 1,000 true fan model that I talk about on the podcast almost on a regular basis, one of the key components of that is people want to be heard. People want to be celebrated. People also want to be a part of something. The problem is most people struggle to be able to find a way to show that or demonstrate it. I mean, it's funny enough, like, why do people put bumper stickers on the back of their car when they're driving? It's because you want people to know certain things about you, right? Although some people put like how many kids they have or whatever it may be, right? But like you can be proud about the things that you're a part of, the things that you've accomplished. My student's an honor roll student and your kid isn't, or whatever that may be, right? But digitally, we haven't had a way to do that. And as a society, as a group, we take pride in things that we love and we care about. But more often than not, there's a disconnect. There hasn't been a way for us to celebrate that and for it to be validated and authenticated online. So where I believe this is going is that you should start right now, start figuring out, okay, if I was going to reward or incentivize or give out to my top 100 customers or my top 50 coaching clients, or maybe it's my first 100 people that reviewed my book, what would I give them? What would I offer them, right? And now it could be just art, but it could be a token or a ticket that would unlock certain things on your website. So if you were a coach, we all know coaches have lots of content, lots of recordings of their past podcasts. They probably have a lot of things they've created that like no longer get much attention. Well, what if you organized that, put it behind a gate, and allowed people, if you had this NFT, right? If you have this digital token, it's going to unlock your ability to have access to this repository. For us as content creators, the content's already there. We've already put the whole hard work in there. Yes, it takes a little bit to put it all together. But what you could ultimately do is that you could say, after 6 months, everybody that goes through my program for 6 months, you're going to get automatically dropped into your wallet an NFT. As long as you hold that NFT, you're going to get access to my repository, the back end of all the things that we've created. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, oh, Brian, that's not new. We could do that in Web 2. Well, I'm just going to tell you, the way that works in Web 2 is you usually either give people an email address or you give people a code. I got one of these codes today. And it was funny because I got the code that was going to unlock a repository of something for me. I'm not gonna air out what that was. You know what's funny about that code is that most people, we were kind of trained that if you give someone a code, we know that most people are going to put it online. Why do businesses and brands not give out these codes or give out discounts like they normally would? It's because people put it on Reddit or put it on Google, and I'm guilty of it. When I'm going to buy something, I will search, are there any discount codes for such and such? But imagine rather than discount codes, you said, hey, these are the people, if you have this NFT in your wallet, we're going to unlock this. Or even better yet, I believe things like influencer marketing, affiliate marketing are going to be flipped on their heads with the ability for us to actually track influence. What I mean by that is, rather than, I just did some work with Guild of Guardians. I have a current, I have a couple influencer contracts that I'm currently working on, right? Where people pay me to, promote their content or to talk about a link, to send people traffic. The funny thing about that is most of that is very it's a bit.ly link with a UTM tag, which just means they can track who sends the most amount of traffic to the actual website. And then hopefully they have some back-end mechanics for conversions and be able to track that on conversions. Although as an influencer, I always like to say, it's my job to get the people to the website. It's their job to close. It's not my job to close. It's my job to hopefully educate and bring my audience to that site. But here's the interesting part. Imagine rather than giving influencers a link or giving your best customers, like right now, right? We're in February, it's Valentine's Day, I believe, when I'm recording this, right? Let's say you want to do a big March campaign. Rather than you having to give a code or links or do all that tracking, what if you said, okay, all of my customers that buy between now and March 1st, I'm going to give you an NFT. And then everybody that has one of those NFTs, I'm going to airdrop into your wallet 5 additional NFTs that you can give out to any of your friends and your family members. If they have that, they're going to get a discount on all of our spring items. Well, it does 2 things. First of all, it eliminates that waste and the idea that the code could be just given out to anyone. Second thing it does is it allows you to track who is actually driving people to your business or your website, right? So you can see if this NFT was sent to this person and this person went to my website and got the discount, you can actually see because everything is trackable on the blockchain. It's all transparent. I can look at every transaction on the blockchain today. There's no way to hide that on the background. The other thing that this does is it also allows you to build, understand a persona of your audience. The last thing that I think this really excites me about is the idea of not only validating the things that we're a part of, but an NFT, the image, right, of the NFT is ultimately no different than the front logo of your car. No different than the sports emblem that we wear, right? Like my daughters were born into terrible towels. I have a tattoo of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That emblem to me is the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? It's representative of my family's love for Pittsburgh sports and us having season tickets for that group. The funny thing about that is digitally, the only way I can really advertise that or brag about that or promote that is for me to actually put it in my profile. But physically, you can see me wearing Steelers gear all the time. Like I said, I even have a Steelers tattoo. And so what would a digital tattoo look like for things that we are a part of and things that we believe in and things that we love? Well, that is where NFTs come into place. And I believe in the very near future, when you go to a person's website, or if you're working with influencers, or even if you're working with your number one fans, you're gonna be able to click on a website, click on a tab, and see all of the people they've worked with, all of the people that they've done business with. For me, this would be, it ultimately empowers the good people that are doing good things to be able to brag and advertise that they're doing good things. Because I will tell you, I would say every client, I can't even think of one off the top of my head, every client that's ever hired me to speak, I believe that I've not only delivered, but over-delivered and provided as much value as I could possibly do and deliver on what I promised and what they hired me for. But there's really no way for me to prove that to you. But imagine if after each time that I did one of those I did a presentation with each one of my clients, imagine if they were able to put an NFT in my wallet and it said, from this sender on this date, and it actually validated what they said about me as a speaker. Now we don't have to go and look at how good people are marketing or how good their SEO is. We could actually validate someone's portfolio directly and authenticated via their NFTs that are exchanged. To me, this changes the dynamic of word-of-mouth marketing. It increases the trust we have with digital data, information, testimonials, reviews. It completely disrupts influencer marketing and affiliate marketing and gives us ways to actually track things like dark social and those kind of components. And then last thing, maybe the most important thing, is it gives us the opportunity to celebrate our fans and build and maintain that trust and that loyalty over a long period of time. Many of the bands that I've gone and seen in concert, I love. And I can tell you, I have pictures of me at their concerts. But there's no way for me to prove or to validate or to even see all of the concerts I've attended. But how cool would it be if I was? And how cool would it be if, like, my favorite band, OAR of a Revolution, maybe imagine they were coming and doing a concert here in Northern Virginia, and they decided, you know what? Everybody who's been to 5 of our concerts before, and you have those NFTs in your wallet, we're going to give you 30 minutes early access to the venue so that you can get a private exclusive show to our event. Well, you might be thinking, well, Brian, they could probably do that with like a fan club today. They could, but the idea of ownership doesn't exist. The idea of authenticated management of this doesn't exist. I mean, I've done this, right? I've celebrated my best fans. I've had people that are listening to the podcast. I put them in this spreadsheet. I track how many times they've tweeted, how many times they've left reviews. It is a nightmare. What NFTs, what tokenized authenticated ownership provides is that validation and instant validation, because it is transparent and it is not editable. It is immutable on the blockchain. So you don't have to say, was that person at that conference, or was that person at that concert, or was that person a past client of mine? You can actually prove that they were a client of yours. And you can even reward people directly to their wallet, which, bringing this full circle, is much like email marketing, but with an ownership component. Because what if I gave everybody a percentage of advertising of the podcast? And I said, if everyone listening right now, if you all shared the podcast and we were able to grow this to 5 million downloads, anyone that shares the podcast that is currently a listener, I'm going to give you an NFT. And when we get to 5 million downloads, I'm going to automatically distribute 20% of my ad revenue is going to be distributed every month to those of you that are fans of mine now. I could do that right now without I tell you, the setup of it would take me maybe an hour. I could set up the NFTs. I could mint them onto the blockchain. The hardest part would be me getting everyone to have a wallet set up. Because as long as you have a wallet set up, I could airdrop you these NFTs and I could build into the contract. When podcast downloads get to this number, automatically every month send them 20% of this amount that we have listed as sponsorship. It would go directly to their wallets. And now, not only am I thankful for you guys listening to my podcast, but we are all winning. It is the true premise of we is greater than me. And that is why, for me, if you are a coach, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a speaker, if you are a creator, right now you need to start preparing your audience, preparing what is the value, the utility, the benefits you would give to someone to hold these NFTs. And you need to start preparing for that component. Because I know for many of you, you're not ready to train the trainer, right? You're not ready to teach your audience how to set up a wallet, how to maintain those things. But guess what? Reddit is onboarding 5 million people. Starbucks has 20 million people in their rewards mechanism, and they are currently using NFTs connected to rewards. The idea of creating a digital wallet will become as normal as it is to have an Apple Wallet on your phone. And soon, that will not be a barrier to entry, and you'll be able to airdrop and reward your current holders. Now, let's say you have 20 or 30 current clients. Maybe it's a great opportunity for you to help them set up a wallet so you can give them their first NFT. And guess what? You don't even have to tell them it's for anything other than you want to celebrate them. And one day down the road, you might do something with them. You might connect. You might be able to amplify them, but you're not sure how you're going to use it. Because that's another component of this that is beautiful, is that we can reward and celebrate people with things like stamps. Technically, it's like it can be a participation trophy, but you can even turn the participation trophy into unlimited access or exclusive opportunities, or even better yet, exclusive and direct access to celebrating those that are most important to all of us as creators, as podcasters, whatever that may be. And so on this Valentine's Day, as I'm recording this, I just want to say shout out to all of you that are listening, all of you that share the podcast, all of you that send comments about how much you love this content, how many of you that are listening on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, I would love for you to go over onto YouTube, check out our podcast. Every one of our episodes, as long as the person is docs that we are interviewing, are up there on our YouTube. Just search NFT 365. You'll see a picture of me. You can click subscribe. You can check out our videos that are up there. And I just want to say thank you. I appreciate all of you. And we are living in exciting times, my friends. And I'm excited for the future of not only Web3, but the future of building trust, celebrating our biggest fans, and in many ways, empowering those good people that are doing good things to prove how good they are. Until next time, my friends, make it a great day. Cheers.